Well, good morning, everyone. Today is Monday. By the fact that I have just pointed out that today is Monday, you can probably guess I don't have anything for Friday's video yet that you're watching now, which makes for a rather interesting week for me. I mean, the weeks are always interesting now, what with being unable to really go out and shoot things. They just announced 2 days ago that even the Crown Land is shut down for camping, which is really not great news because I had a few places I was actually planning on going and camping in the next couple of weeks to try and get some footage and to get some nice shots and some nice scenery and generally just to rejuvenate myself and to sort of get back into a more peaceful balance after the end of a rather interesting semester of school as well. My program, some of my classes have had final exams online. Some of them are telling me that we will be doing them when I come back in August because they're going to run 3 weeks of courses in August. But, such is student life, we will adapt and evolve and continue on and make it work. So, that's kind of where I'm at on that front. And yes, trying to come up with content for this week's video. As I was saying, I still am going to, as you can tell, have a video this week, and I'm going to make it as interesting as I can. Today is not going to be that day. Today is Monday, making it April 13th, Easter Monday. And as you can tell, and as you probably remember from the weather reports, we are experiencing apparently what they call a bomb cyclone here. So big low pressure system, lots of weather coming through. It was raining a couple minutes ago, high winds all day. Not as high as they were predicting though. They were calling for 70 to 100 kilometer an hour winds and gusts in this area. We've lucked out so far. I don't think it's really peaked above 50. So that's going on. So not really doing much with the photography today. As much as I would like to shoot something, I haven't really seen anything yet on my walk. And I didn't really expect to. I'm going to include footage after this clip, but I'm going to be talking about a scene that I'm trying to photograph right now. And I think that will be sort of what I work on this week. Over the next couple mornings, I believe I found my waterproof boots. And if I have found those waterproof boots, I'm getting the shot that I've been trying to get since last week when I started to record footage for this week. That will be coming after this. It's a beautiful day, and because of the fact that it is early spring right now, it is the 6th of April today when I'm recording this. Because it's spring, everything is melting. Almost all the snow has gone off my pathways here. You can tell there's a little bit of ice here and there, but that's about it. Big thing this means is that the ponds that form on the eastern side of this forest in the spring should be forming or formed now, but they shouldn't be dried up yet, hopefully. So, today's mission, so to speak, I'm going to seek out the ponds because every year they form and they have these lovely little islands. Some of them are very large, actually. Some of them are small, like 10, 20, 30 feet wide. Some of them are, I want to say that some of them are at least a couple 100 feet. And so beautiful little places to explore. And many of them form little islands. Some of them even have streams running out of them. Some of them, I don't know, they've been forming for so long now that they actually have their own shorelines that permanently stay in place even when the water dries up. They have little lips around them for the shorelines. So that's today's thing. I'm going to explore that. Over the next few days, I'm going to be exploring more of this forest, the forest across the road from me. I'm going to be checking it all out because there's lots of little places to explore, lots of little things to find. And even if I don't find big things, there's little things. I know I prefer to generally do the large, grand landscapes, but I'm finding a lot of joy in exploring the little things too. Finding those little, things like a tree stump that have an interesting shape and an interesting light. This morning there is a lot of little frost forming on all of the moss and the grasses and the leaves. So there's a lot of really cool things to see back here. So so we found the pond. It's actually completely frozen. It is completely frozen still. It is all ice, or almost all ice. There's very little water, but I think we can still work with this, especially this morning. The light is beautiful. So I'm gonna take a little bit of a walk around, look for some compositions and see what we find. I think I found a composition. There's this island out in the middle of the pond. And this pond is kind of medium sized. It's a couple 100 feet long, but it's only about 30-40 feet wide. It's not a large pond. As I said, in some spots the shoreline actually is very well established, but there's this island out in the middle. You can kind of see it over, kind of behind that tree. You can sort of see it there. And this pond, it's just lovely. It's got some trees growing on it. And I don't know for sure yet. I haven't looked at it through the lens. But I just have this feeling about it. I feel like if I can get to the other side of the pond, I think that it's got a chance of being a composition. All right, I'm here. I think this has the potential to be something amazing. The sun is just lighting up the edge of the island. And my only trick is getting to a good angle for it. I think I have to climb out onto here to try and get the shot. I'm not 100% certain how this is going to go, so I'm going to put the camera down before I do that. But yeah, we're going to see. We're going to see. I think this might work. Okay, so I have survived my trek out to the little point there and back. One thing I'm going to say though about this shot, I think I like what I got. I think I do. I'm still not quite set on it. I didn't quite like the angle that I got. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and find rubber boots and come back on another morning. Hopefully while there's still ice, but if it doesn't happen, I'll have water and I'll have the reeds still. So we'll see. I am interested in this composition, though I kind of like it still. It is still very busy even from this side of the pond, and I'm sorry, you can hear the dogs are trekking around me here. But I did quite like it. Today is Wednesday. It just keeps on going. It's bright and early Wednesday morning. It's about 20 past 7 here. And the reason why I mention that it's Wednesday is because, as you can tell, we're still working on the whole project of getting something for Friday. I'll admit this is the latest in my week that I've ever gotten without a video. Normally I'm ready to go at least a week in advance, but it does happen. So yeah, I'm out. It's a bit cool this morning, and I'm walking for the pond in the forest. As you can tell, we got fresh snow last night. It's getting into mid-April now, and that whole expression about April showers and May flowers, not quite sure if this is what they meant. I don't know. It's coming. It's coming. But it's gonna be an interesting spring. So yeah, I'm gonna put my gloves on here, and then I'll rejoin you here, and we will continue this little adventure towards the pond. Okay, so as you can probably guess by the fact that I'm heading back to the pond, I finally found my rubber boots, which is going to finally give me a little bit of freedom with what I can do. Because when I went there last week and I was checking it out, and I'll show you some of the footage in here as well, I was able to find a spot that was not bad, but it was too busy. I just couldn't quite get the clean shot that I was looking for of the island in the pond. Mainly because it's very grown up around it, so getting in close was very difficult. And then of course with the water and the mud, it's very hard to there's spots that's very hard to walk around anyway. So I'm hoping now that I've got my waterproof boots, my rubber boots, I'll actually be able to step into the water a little bit and try out a couple of different compositions that just were not available to me before at all. So that's the plan for this morning. The sun is just a little bit above the horizon here right now. So I've got a bit of time. The light's nice and gentle. The fresh snow and the ice on the pond should make for an interesting composition. Should add a little bit of interest here. All right. Well, I think the moral for this week's video, and I think the title for this week's video, is if at first you don't succeed, or try again. Yeah, it's been a lot of back and forth wandering around. I'll admit that I spent a lot of time walking around in the bush aimlessly this last 2 weeks trying to get this week's video. And I ended up going back to the pond, actually. I had finished recording, I had taken my picture, I had left, I was halfway home, and then I was walking, and all of a sudden I looked up at the sky and I just saw the sun coming back out, and I went, oh, gotta go back, gotta get this shot. So I traipsed back through, and I think I got it. I'm really happy with what I got. Basically, when I originally found this location, my whole intent was to get this island in the pond and have the sunlight streaming down onto it. I got it. I did get it. And I'm really happy with it. So it's coming up at the end of the video here. My final settings were still 1/20th of a second f11, ISO 100 at 24 millimeters with my 14-24 Sigma. I'm pretty stoked about it. My feet are absolutely frozen from standing in that pond. But I'm really happy with how it came out, so I hope you enjoy it, guys. Stay safe out there. Have fun. If you have any questions or comments, let me know anytime. And by all means, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Catch you soon.